My name is Haruka Saito. 5 years ago, I had a love marriage with my husband, Ken. Ken confessed to me, saying he fell in love at first sight. We dated and then got married, but since Haruna was born, for the past 3 years, we haven't done anything that couples do. No, Ken has been neglecting both me and Haruna. It's like he has no interest in us. Since we got married, Ken had gradually become more careless towards me. It seems like he has lost interest in me. I feel like Ken no longer sees me as a woman. He leaves everything about Haruna to me. He doesn't seem to care for her at all. We didn't have a bad relationship, but even though we lived in the same house, we were like strangers. Hey, Ken, I need to talk to you.
Huh? Talk? I'm about to watch the drama I recorded. So let's do it later.
You said that last time too.
Oh, right. Haruka. We're out of shampoo, so be sure to buy them.
Shampoo? You could buy it on your way home from work. Anyway, we still need to talk.
You'll be going shopping anyway, right? So get it then, okay?
He dodged the conversation. Ken prioritized his hobbies over talking with me. And he barely helped with housework or childcare. What am I to Ken? I was starting to feel loneless because I couldn't have a proper relationship with Ken.
That drama was great. Well, I'm going to bed. Good night.
When was the last time we did something couple-like? What if Ken's love might be drifting away from me? I'm scared. Ken!
Huh? What is it? Make it quick, I'm tired.
I felt sad as Ken yawned and listened half-heartedly. Not tonight?
Tonight? You mean...
I nervously approached Ken. I've been saying this for a while, but I want a second child.
Sorry, today's not good.
Not good? But you're always like this. With a silly smile, Ken said,
Haruka, I love you and you're important to me, but I can't see you as a woman anymore.
What? Can't see me as a woman? To Ken, it might not seem like a big deal. But for me, it was a huge shock. How can you say you love me but don't see me as a woman?
That's exactly what I mean. Besides, we can't keep acting like we're in our 20s forever. You should calm down a bit too.
What? What's with those condescending eyes? It's like he's saying I'm acting immature. I can't believe Ken sees me in such a way. So does that mean we're done? I want a second child though. I wanted to give Haruna a little brother or sister. Besides, seeing Ken's attitude towards me become more careless over the years, I felt anxious. Being rejected by Ken, I lost my confidence as a woman and I felt depressed. When we first got married, Ken used to say, I'm the most beautiful woman and he'll love me forever. At that time, my best friend Yuko called me. Yuko told me she got divorced. You and your husband were so close, and you got divorced? Yeah, we had different sexual needs. Different sexual needs? It's the same for us. Yuko has been with his ex-husband since high school, and they were still close after getting married. But he cheated on me. What? He cheated? But he said he loved me the most. That seems to be true, but because I didn't pay enough attention to him, he couldn't take it and ended up cheating. I loved him too, but... I see. Even when two people love each other, they can't end up divorcing because of different sexual needs. Maybe Yuko would understand how I feel. I decided to take the plunge and talk to Yuko about my situation. Ken is so selfish. He confessed his love, proposed to you, and married you on his own accord. I told Yuko about the pain of being told I'm not seen as a woman. I vented all my worries about not having any intimacy for 3 years. Then Yuko got angry on my behalf. Ken is selfish? I was taken aback by Yuko's anger.
Yes. Maybe Ken was probably never that interested in sex to begin with. But that doesn't give him the right to belittle you, Haruka.
Ken may always been somewhat indifferent towards others. Because of his easygoing nature, I never noticed. But after we got married and started living together, it became more and more obvious. Yuko was right. The more I think back, the more I realize that Ken always avoided important discussions. And he never truly faced me. I'm starting to doubt if the kind words he said to me were ever sincere.
It's scary to feel love slipping away. Ken wouldn't understand his fear because he's completely loved by Haruka now.
I thought Ken rejected me because I lacked feminine appeal. So I blamed myself.
It's not your fault, Haruka. Also, mocking your partner's concerns without trying to understand them is just cruel. Ken is being awful.
Yuko gently encouraged me as I stood there, confused.
What do you want to do, Haruka?
Huh? Me?
You're unhappy with the current situation, right? Then you need to take action.
Yuko's question made me reflect on my own feelings and think about what I want to do with Ken from now on. I don't want Haruna to feel lonely. Our marriage wasn't bad, but being together only made me feel emptier. So I don't want to stay with Ken anymore. I also don't want to keep suffering. I want to be happy if I'm going to be with someone. A week later, I told Ken, who had just come home from work as usual, let's take a trial separation with divorce in mind.
What? Separate? Why all of a sudden? Do you hate me?
The reason is we're not on the same page sexually.
Not on the same page sexually?
Ken was dumbfounded, unable to grasp what I meant.
Are we separating just because I've been refusing all the time? Is divorce really necessary over something so trivial?
It's not something so trivial. Being married to you has made me feel increasingly empty. I no longer understand the point of being married.
Can't you just tolerate our sexual differences? I mean, everything else is going well.
Ken was clearly caught off guard when I confronted him about divorce. He was in a panic. And so, seeing Ken in such a state of panic the moment I mentioned separation, I calmly said to him, "You shouldn't have felt anxious, right? After all, I was always the one pursuing you since we got married."
Anxious? What are you talking about?
It seems Ken never really understood my concerns at all. I lost interest in you. You fell out of love with me, too. It's only natural for me to lose interest in you, right?
What? Lost interest? You lost interest in me?
Yeah. The other day when you told me you can't see me as a woman anymore, that was the final straw. Besides, Ken, you always think only about yourself. You refuse my request but always push yours onto me. So I stopped feeling loved by you a long time ago.
No way! This can't be happening!
When I spoke firmly, Ken was visibly shocked by the idea of me losing interest for him. He never cared about hurting me and he didn't even notice. Ken doesn't have any interest in me anymore. I felt hurt and disappointed again. When we were younger, women naturally liked you, right?
Huh? Well, yeah, I guess I was never disliked by women.
Ken wasn't exceptionally handsome because he was friendly, affectionate, and easygoing. So women were easily drawn to him. You confessed your feelings to me, and I fell for you too. So, you never imagined I'd lose feelings for you?
That's...
It seemed I hit the mark. Ken seemed flustered, thinking it over. Back when we first got married, you used to tell me, "You'll love me forever or I'm the most beautiful woman." But now you can't see me as a woman anymore.
That's... I can't help it. I meant it back then.
You meant it? I don't think so.
Huh? What do you mean?
Whenever you said those things to me, it was always when it was inconvenient for you. You said them just to pacify me. I realized that.
Ah,
It seemed I hit the mark again. Ken turned pale, lost for words. When we were newlyweds, even though I knew he was saying it just to pacify me, I was happy because he still cared about me. But now, he doesn't even say those things to me anymore. I realized. To you, Ken, it doesn't matter if I'm here or not.
what are you saying, Haruka? That's not true at all. You're my important family and my wife. So I'd be troubled if you're not with me.
That's because I handle all the housework for you, isn't it?
Huh? No, that's not it. I love you, Haruka, and...
If you love me and say I'm important to you, why did you always brush off my words? You always say, later, later. But you never took me seriously. I don't understand the kind of love you talk about. If you love someone, you cherish them, right? But you don't cherish me or Haruna. You always prioritize your own hobbies.
No, I do love you and Haruna.
Ken stammered, trying to come up with excuses. Then I told him, saying I love you is easy. But if you really mean it, I wanted you to show it through your actions.
Actions?
At that moment, Ken fell silent. Clearly, he didn't care enough about me or Haruna to actually show his love through actions. But it's not just that. Ken has a sly way of treating me as convenient. Once I realize that, I feel more and more angry. If you have no intention of showing it through your actions, then it's all over.
What do you mean?
I'm divorcing you. Staying together any longer would only make it hard for me and Haruna. But it seemed Ken still didn't want to accept that I had lost all affection for him. Pale and trembling, he nervously asked me,
Is there another man you like?
That's not what this is about. Ken really only thinks about himself. No, I don't like anyone else right now, but I will find someone.
Find someone?
Yeah, someone who will consider both me and Haruna properly.
So you don't love me anymore, Haruka?
Ken, still pale, was trembling. But after being neglected for so long, I couldn't feel any sympathy for him. Losing your partner's affection is very unsettling. Now you understand, don't you? And so, I moved out with Haruna to live separately until the divorce. As soon as we started living separately, Ken seemed panicked and started contacting me every day. Moreover,
Haruka, I've missed you.
Ken, why are you at my workplace? Ken was waiting for me outside my workplace. I can't believe he will come to my workplace. Despite me telling him all the reasons I wanted a divorce just the other day, he hasn't taken any of it to heart.
Haruka, why are you dressed up like that?
Huh? I'm just dressed as usual. When I expressed my surprise, Ken suddenly had an alarmed look on his face and started to panic.
Haruka, you're still as beautiful as ever. You look amazing. You look more beautiful than any other woman. I still love you, Haruka. I've always loved you.
But I'm just dressed like always. I just can't trust Ken's words after all. I was amazed by how easily Ken started sprouting words of love. So I quickly walked away.
Haruka, where are you going?
I have plans to meet someone now. I don't have time to listen to your sweet talk. And you showing up at my workplace is annoying.
Meeting someone? Is it a man?
Ken ignored me again. I got really mad and started walking. Actually, it wasn't planned for today. But I thought I had to see you too.
What does that mean?
Ken seemed to hope we could get back together. But I took out the divorce papers from my bag and handed them to Ken. I'm ready for the divorce.
Divorce? Are you serious?
Yeah. I was planning to ask my best friend to witness the signing of the divorce papers.
I can witness it, Haruka.
Yuko! The meeting place was just nearby. So Yuko noticed me and came over. She stood next to me, looking angrily at Ken.
Since we're here, why don't we have him sign it now?
Good idea.
Sign? The divorce papers?
I led the pale-faced Ken into a nearby family restaurant with Yuko.
Why do we have to get divorced? Come on, Haruka, we love each other, right?
Love each other? That was only right after we got married. I don't love you anymore, Ken.
Why?
I already told you the reasons. Weren't you listening? Ken looked away from me, embarrassed, and pouted.
Just because I didn't pay attention to you, divorce is too much.
Too much?
Then, Yuko, who had been silent next to me, couldn't hold back any longer and leaned forward towards Ken.
Hey, do you have any idea how much you hurt Haruka?
What? Hurt her?
You proposed to Haruka and got married. But soon after, you lost interest in her and used her for your convenience. Haruka married you, but you treated her poorly all this time. You couldn't even do things a normal couple does, and she was hurt.
But we were getting along well.
That's not enough for a marriage. Then we couldn't just stay friends. But you got married and become partners. You need to consider your partner's feelings. Otherwise, they'll lose all affection for you.
That's right. I've lost all affection for you, Ken. When I said this seriously, looking straight at him, Ken turned pale and was at a loss.
Has Haruka had enough of me?
That's why I can't stay with you anymore. We're getting a divorce. With Yuko by my side, I had the devastated Ken fill out the divorce papers. With Yuko as my witness, I successfully divorced Ken. I got a call from Ken again. He never cared about me while we were married. After the divorce, Ken sent me persistent messages asking to get back together several times. But it's too late now. Plus, I could see that he's trying to keep me from divorcing him. If you keep this up, I'll contact the police. I texted him and then I blocked him. After I left him, Ken finally realized all the things I had done for him, but it was all too late. I heard from a mutual friend with Ken that after I blocked Ken, he completely lost his confidence as a man and now lives alone, feeling lonely. And since he left all the housework to me, he can't cook at all and is struggling now.
He spent all this time ignoring you and Haruna and doing whatever he liked. He deserves some hardship.
As for me, I'm free from the days when I was worried about Ken. Now, my days are peaceful. With my adorable Haruna with me, I don't feel lonely.
I'm not lonely with Mom and Coco.
After the divorce, Haruna and I adopted a kitten into our family. The kitten, named Coco by Haruna, has become very attached to her, and they spend their time together happily. And also, with Yuko and Yuri around, I'm very happy.
We're happy too, spending time with you and Haruna like this.
Let's all be even happier together from now on.
Yeah!
On weekends, I spend fun times chatting with Haruna, Yuko, and Yuko's daughter Yuri. Since separating from Ken and regaining my confidence, I also enjoy fashion with Yuko and have regained my confidence as a woman.